guys, Justin with Ready Business Systems. So I wanted to go over quickly, I put up a video last spring about a big contract we won. It was a roughly $140,000 condo association. We knew someone on the board, our accountant actually, who helped us get the job, and we had some idea on what the other bids were, and we had the opportunity to bid for this with the advantage of knowing someone on the board. So it was exciting for us getting this big contract. We typically only do residential. It was a big change to what we normally do. We have some commercial, but it's always small commercial that's basically one person decision versus boards. So I used to bid them, but we don't typically win them because we're too expensive, and I've kind of steered clear of them. But anyway, it was an exciting change for us, and it didn't work out very well. So I wanted to go over the lessons I learned to hopefully help you if you ever run across a similar situation. So I try to, overall, it wasn't a good thing. We broke even at best on the job. So in a situation like that, I always try to focus on the positive, and every experience in life you're going to learn something from. So although it wasn't financially a good thing for the company, it was a good thing in that we gained experience in something new that we could apply to make us profit in other situations. So in this situation, what I think we did wrong, and I did wrong, in terms of accountability, if anything ever happens, you as owner of the company could have always prevented them. It's easy to blame it on your manager or someone else from bidding the job wrong, et cetera, but at the end of the day, it always reflects back on you. So I'm very, very hands-off, which for the most part works out for me. I like to empower people, which is how you get a business to run on its own, by making sure you delegate and empower people to make decisions. In this situation, something I learned is I think I did that a little bit too much. I think I was a little bit too hands-off. I did look at the bid with him. I should have probably done it more carefully. He was a new manager. Rather than letting him and giving him full control and decision making over that bid, I probably should have reviewed it more with him and double checked his numbers, because at the end of the day, that's a lot of money. And if we bid that at half price, that means that the company lost $140,000 that it should have had if I just spent a little bit of time, invested a little bit of time double checking his numbers. On top of that, another thing I learned is the contract. So in the future, typically in situations like that, a condo association, they create the contract, they have you sign it. So in hindsight, I'm really good at tearing stuff apart and really knowing what's on contract and making sure that what's included, what's not included, pretty detail oriented that way. What I should have done though is had that contract double checked by our own lawyer and kind of negotiated that. Like I said, we wanted to win this bid, so we were making, we were doing what we could to win this bid. And although it was, in one hand, it was nice knowing what the competition was bidding this job at, it was also a bad thing, more so because then we tried to manipulate our numbers subconsciously to meet the criteria for the contract. So that's one thing I would do, is I would double check the numbers, be more careful on large numbers, because whereas a small residential, you can fire that customer, increase their price mid-season. When you're on a year-long contract and you have 80-something properties, you're kind of locked into those numbers and you can't change them throughout the year. So double check the numbers, double check the contract, run it by a professional before we lock ourselves in. Another thing is, the whole idea of sticking what you're good at. Our company doesn't do large residential properties. It's not what we do. Maybe in the future, when we're scaling more, but typically the rates are lower. It's a different ball game. We also have the marketing. We're designed and have the overhead for a residential company. A residential company is going to require more overhead in terms of office support, because you're getting phone calls from 80 people instead of one condo association, billing 80 people instead of one condo association. You're also going to have a higher marketing expense because you're going to have to pick up 80 more customers. For big condo associations, they probably have lower overhead because they're not spending as much money on marketing, not spending as much money on office personnel to support that larger contract. So sticking what you're good at. the last thing is to, making sure you're set up to do that. So in terms of, our work, our equipment is sized to do residential properties. So we have 48-inch mowers because that's what most of our residential clients fit into. The condo association, we had to go out and purchase a whole bunch of bigger machines that we didn't build into our overhead for the season. We also, there are also some bigger commercial things. We don't have giant commercial blowers. We don't have giant commercial vacuums. We have ones that are sized for residential properties. 12-inch hoses, not the giant ones they have for that you see big companies doing large commercial jobs with. So those are the takeaways I'd say from that contract. So again, you live and you learn. I don't regret the decision because we learned from it, and I have that experience behind me, and so does my manager. I'm not going to do it again until we have the proper equipment, until we've exhausted our residential bids, because another thing was we neglected our residential clients a bit. So we had higher charge rate work we could have been doing, but instead we were doing this condo association because we had committed to doing it. So we neglected our customers at our higher charge rate, instead prioritized the condo association at a lower charge rate, which I knew, and I told my manager that was a risk we were taking. If we did the condo on top of our residential, it would be a good thing. And if we did it instead of, it would be a bad thing. And unfortunately, we did what I had thought what could have happened is we prioritized the condos. We instead neglected our residentials, hurt our reputation, and we did a bunch of work at a lower charge rate, which is actually below our break-even rate, instead of doing profitable work for our clients. So yeah, I hope you guys can learn from my experience. Be careful on those commercial bids. Make sure you know your numbers when you're bidding them. If you have someone else bidding them, make sure there's checks in places to make sure they're bid correctly. Make sure you have your contract checked by someone on your team, your attorney, that can make sure that verbiage isn't only written to protect them, it's also written to protect you, to make sure that you have your payments on time and that sort of thing, and what happens if you don't. Making sure that it's within your realm of what you guys are good at, and lastly, making sure you have the right equipment to do that. So I'll catch you next time. Check out the website at readybusinesssystems.com. Talk to you next time.